Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. As usual, how are my peeps doing? I'm here trying to go ahead and register on YouTube to make sure that we are all working correctly. So as I do this, bear with me. I'm pulling that baby up right now to make sure all transmissions are copacetic. And it seems like all transmissions may be copacetic at this point in time. Make sure all our automation is working. You know, when we have to do things on the cheap, we have to do whatever automations we can, but we are here. We're here. Welcome aboard, AVQ. Welcome aboard, Bridge MCP. Oh, I got to do it the right way. Welcome aboard, Bridge MCP from Binghamton, New York, upstate New York. AVQ, El Señor Rudnin is out from Brooklyn, New York. We have Tom C. is here on time today. No new limerick, but we played his limerick yesterday. And you know what? Since he's here now, I'll go ahead and recue that as well. But Tom C. is from Middle Michigan, or, somewhere in Michigan. I don't think it's on the Upper Peninsula. I think it's is it? I don't remember. Lee Grant is in the house from Montgomery County. And what else do we have? Melanie Keelan from Barcelona, Spain. We also have, let's see. I don't see, I saw another name in the queue. Where am I missing? Anyway, we're going to have a good time today. And you know what I'm going to start with? Since I can see my brother in the house, I am going to see if I can find that great limerick by our brother, and then we're going to play it again. Brighton, Michigan. That's where he's from. Brighton, Michigan is Tom C. Kind of sound like Binghamton, New York, but not quite. All right, here you go, Tom. This is what we played for you yesterday in your absence, sir.
I got a limerick for you.
Yes. All right.
This is extended limerick. I was going to put it on PDR the other day, but just didn't get a chance. But here it is, and I'll put it on later. Hamas and Hezbollah demand that Palestine be Jewless. Attacked by terrorists, Israel's revenge is ruthless, bombing innocent Gazans day after day, even killing hostages who get in the way. Politicians right and left continue to be clueless, while children in the street are starving and shoeless. On and on, Arabs and Israelis fight. Both sides say they are in the right, filling the skies with bombs and lies, smashing teeth and bashing eyes, until anyone who survives is both blind and toothless.
As you can see, I just simply love all the limericks coming from brother Tom. That's what I like to see. But anyway, let's go ahead and start talking. Let's see what we got here queued up. We have British MCP says, I don't know, but I find it weird, as I don't believe in coincidence, that I'm getting about twice a week FB violations from comments are IMGR images from this show for the past 3 years. Then restream bot and that nonsense, something is up. Well, I tell you what, a lot of my videos are being blocked and they claim it's copyright and all that good stuff. As you know, we do most of the talking. So what it is people are claiming copyrights to slow things down. And I think they're doing all kind of shenanigans. I went ahead and I disputed about 20 videos that I didn't know. I just happened to look through my list and see all these videos that had violations on them. And I protested every violation, and every violation was corrected. Every single one was corrected. So, Bridge, it's not a coincidence. There are people out there, a lot of this stuff is automated, and there are a lot of people just dinging particular, like I'm a progressive. I can imagine a whole lot of folks on the MAGA folks would ding a lot of what we do here. So, but you know what? You just have to keep playing the game and looking out. So when you tell us things like that, we know that something is up. All right, what else have we got here? What else? Tom C. said, here on time today. No new limerick, but always thinking of new ones. Well, if you happen to write one down as we do our program, we are definitely going to read it here. All right, Tom's limerick was good. Tom was here when you played it. Oh, was he? Oh, wait a minute. You guys said the Restream bot was down, which means I didn't see it inside of the Restream queue. Ah, okay. Got you. All right, Michael Randes says, Egberto, speaking of automation, you've seen those badly generated fake images of Trump with black people that are being shared on social media? Generative AI is so much better so quickly that it's hard to keep up. I can easily predict that in less than 2 years, these types of deep fake images will become indistinguishable from reality. BBC, Trump supporters target black voters with faked AI images. And I tell you what, I have the latest beta of Photoshop. And I don't know how to use it very well, but I just kind of did a quick test on the video that they sent with it. And it's interesting. Yeah, you can actually say things like, replace this house with a skyscraper in a mountainous terrain or whatever. And it does it. It is so damn amazing, you know, good recognition and all of that. But right now, with all these deep fakes and AI, the most important things right now is going to be relationships. While people fear AI because it's going to fool people, AI requires a fairly intelligent populace. So my answer is, let's make Deb Denny. Welcome to Politics and Right. Hey, Deb Denny, where are you? What city, state are you in? City and state. Anyway, aren't you here in Houston? Oh, anyway, let me know. Let's see. I think we've got to do our job of educating folks that you assume every picture that you see has a potential to be a deep fake. And then afterwards, we believe in relationships. This can drive relationships. In other words, assume that nothing is real except when you build true relationships to take that as legit, right? So that's where we're going to have to get to. All right. Lee Grant says lots of the Christian nationalist rhetoric is just a new way to demonize the right. But if we were to have a theocracy, I'd like to be the Pope. If you are going to be the Pope, Lee Grant, I wouldn't mind. I like you. Not only do I like you, I think you're a fair guy. We don't agree a lot of times, but I think you're fair. And so that would be cool. Unfortunately, we can't depend on guys being nice. We need to codify things so that if guys aren't nice, we don't have to depend on their niceties or others to do the job. We have the laws by which we're governed. And that's the difference between things like regulations and otherwise, right? Regulations, people don't claim, a lot of people on the right don't like regulations. Why? Because they think it's infringing on them. But if it's not there and they're hurt, they're the first to complain. Nope, we can't have that. But let's go ahead and say, Lee Grant for Pope. Lee Grant for Pope. All right. Michael Rodin says, Lee Grant, Christian nationalism is what a lot of the conservative movement want, even though our nation is supposed to be secular. See the First Amendment. Congress shall not respect the establishment of any religion. See the Treaty of Tripoli. Our nation is not Christian, nor were the founders of this country. Some of the founders of this country were atheists. I don't remember which ones were. Some were deist. Some were not deist. So, yeah, we need to start understanding this. Bruce Pollard has just let us know that the section of the EgbertoWillies.com website that he controls is up to date with a whole lot of new stuff. Unfortunately, my brother, I think I have like 3 or 4 more that they sent me and asked me to put up there that I'll be sending sometime. But brother, I really appreciate you and the work you've been doing at our website. Thank you so kindly for the assistance in doing that, my brother. Muchísimas gracias. And also, Bruce, I don't know if you called Robin or not, but your KPFT contribution was appropriately applied to the under my tally at KPFT. So you guys have made, those of you who are here or even at KPFT have made our show, and notice I said our show, one of the top grossing shows at KPFT because of you. I mean, we could not do this without you. And also you show the importance of having good programs that engage people and it's not scared to actually talk subjects. So for all of you, thank you very much. Whether it is that you contribute here. By the way, everything contributed to KPFT goes entirely to KPFT. And as much as I get up in the mornings at 5 to do the KPFT program at 6 every single day. I make zero at KPFT. It doesn't matter how many thousands of dollars I raise for KPFT. I just want you to know that, because what we get in contributions here by your subscriptions to our newsletter, by your subscription to our channel, etc., that is what goes here. But everything else that you do at whenever I'm at KPFT and we're soliciting at KPFT, I see none of that. I just want people to understand that. When you support here, you're supporting Politics Done Right here. When you support KPFT, you're supporting. When you support Politics Done Right on KPFT, you're supporting KPFT. Just to be clear. All right. Where else are we now? Para ver. Bridge MCP says Michael Rudnan, Lee Grant, Christian nationalism is what a lot of conservative. Oh, that's a repeat. Okay, Bloomington, Indiana. I gotta register that. Deb Denny, gotta register that. All right, Mike Cisa said Egberto, I'll be spending each day this week and next week correcting the lies you and others here believe. Hey, Mike Cisak, first of all, I want to apologize to you because I re-listened. I actually made a short clip of what we discussed on the phone yesterday, and I played it on the radio at KPFT. But as I was putting that together, I realized that I was wrong in a comment. Let me express. When I said Trump doesn't have thousands of employees, I was talking about the massive thousands, not that he had less than 1,000. But when I re-listened to the audio, I'm like, oh my God, I am actually saying the way it sounded like it's less than 1,000 employees. So your pushback was absolutely right. He has thousands of employees, to be exact, 22,000 employees. I've always said that when I make a mistake that is correctable, I do it as soon as possible. I do it immediately. So I just wanted you to know that you're correct. The guy does have thousands of employees in businesses that he runs. That doesn't take away that most of his businesses are just licensed and so forth. And I forgot to bring you the Wikipedia link that listed all the Trump businesses, and you can see which ones are run by him and which ones are not. But I like to be fair and correct my mistakes as well. All right. Bridge MCP says, take all the time you need, MAGA Mike. That's what I called him I don't remember what I called him, but respectfully. And also, after I played your piece on KPFT, it created a lot of commentary. And they asked me, why do I called you a good person? And one of the daily callers originally was sort of upset that I called you a good person. And I said, no, you are in fact a good person, sanctioned or controlled by the externalities that makes you or who you are. And then I mentioned as well some of the things that you put in the commentary, some of them pretty racist, but and when I said that, Johnny said, well, how can you call him a good person? I said, Johnny, I have a lot of friends that are racist. And I just have to look at my own experience of the isms that I had of my own. And if I'm willing to fix them, others should be willing to fix theirs as well. That's all. But anyway, I appreciate your presence here, brother Mike. I wanted to just let that be known of what we did. All right. Michael Radin says, our people are not trained to fact check everything read on social media. Result, our people fall for this SHIT as knee-jerk reaction. It's going to get so much worse as deep fakes are soon going to be indistinguishable from reality. You absolutely correct, brother. The current problems with generative AI, busted fingers, too many arms, gibberish written on T-shirts, etc., will be fixed long before we are ready for it. Estás correcto. All right, Mike Cisak says, what Donald Trump said about disinfectant, sun, and coronavirus correcting leftist lies. You know what? It's so funny. I heard what the president said in real time. So I don't need anybody to interpret for me, Mr. Cisak, what I heard with my own ears, the entire thing in full context. Again, in full context, because I watched all of the press conferences. So I don't even need to go to PolitiFact. I was there for the entire thing to look at the entire context. So thank you so kindly that I won't bother on this particular issue with disinfectants, etc. Read PolitiFact. There's no need. I listened to it all with my own ears. Oh, Michael Cisak is calling me, and I've got to take his call because I love Michael Cisak. Brother Cisak, what's up?
Hello.
Talk to me, brother.
Not too much. I'm just working hard, having to pay all my taxes. So I wanted to go back and read, not listen, but read what he was actually saying. And based on what you said yesterday, you were wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
About
now,
what? Which one? Which side?
Okay. So basically back then, it was very early on, like several months within, as far as COVID coming on the scene. Basically what it was is that Trump was talking about things that the medical professionals were telling him that were possible solutions to help people as far as, getting rid of coronavirus. Okay. The ultraviolet part. Okay. As far as sunlight and everything like that, there's actual treatments that they actually have that actually work, that they actually did. Okay. So that part, yes, he was right. And as far as the Clorox, I guess we can call it, or whatever, he never talked about, actually downing Clorox or whatever. It was to actually use as a disinfectant on other things. And that's what he ended up saying. Okay. I know you think you heard differently, but the problem is that it was later that you heard all these leftist journalists saying, "Oh, he was talking about people downing Clorox," and that's Michael where Cisak, the lie came from. It was Brother from Cisak, a whole bunch of lie, a whole bunch of
Brother Cisak. Okay, look, I have some videos to play. I want to give you. Wait. I am going. No, I'm not going to read it. I'm going to get the video for you. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. I don't need to read something when there is video out there so you can hear what the guy is saying in the context in which he's saying. So again,
I linked it,
Brother Cisak. Okay, I will get it for you. I'll play it for all to see. Okay, because again, the revisionist history to make Donald Trump's stupidity, to make Donald Trump idiocy, to make Donald Trump lack of intelligence. I can't. Let me tell you something, Cisak. You're a very smart man. I don't have any doubt about it. I hear how you come up with things, but let me tell you what I think you proved to me. That adherence to an ideology can allow you to use your intelligence to try to make your idol more than that idol really is, to make that idol actually intelligent. You can't do that. Donald Trump is a dummy, okay? Donald Trump is a dummy that was given a silver spoon, and he lost each time. He's bankrupt his companies each time. There's nothing that you can say, my brother. And what I'm saying is you are too intelligent a person, because you and I have spoken about other things as well. You're an intelligent brother. You're too intelligent to try to defend a clown like this. But brother, Mike, I want to, it's kind of late, and there are 3 videos that I got to do you have free will to call this show every day, and you can come and take out our lies that you said in the chat. I'll be happy.
Well, I'm posting.
Good.
I'm posting. You can read it.
Yeah,
okay,
thank
and then
you.
they can find out that they're wrong and what they think.
No problem, Mike. Mike, so, remember, Mike, I want to end this conversation this way. You are intelligent. Don't allow ideology to change that. Thank you for calling, my brother. We'll talk some other time.
That's your problem. You are using your ideology to color what you hear.
All right. Brother, we'll talk.
I'm
I promise you.
What was actual.
Thank you, brother. We'll continue our discourse.
And here it is. You're ignoring the actual fact. That's your problem.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, I will play it for everybody on the show just because you brought it up. I'll get it and do that. Okay?
All right.
Thank you, brother.
Peace. Sometime this week. Save that.
Thank you, brother. Peace. All right. That was our brother, Mike Cisak. As you see, again, we disagree, right? And the conversation that we have here, I want us to start thinking about that. This guy's not like Johnny asked me today, is Mike Cisak a bad guy? No, he's a good guy. And people get pissed off when I say that because, but look, we'll come to some consensus. Anyway, Tom C says, Dojo 45 is a deep fake without intelligence, artificial or otherwise. Tom C nails it. Yes. Michael Rodin says, replying to Bridget. Oh, that's a reply. Let's see. Let's scroll down. Barbara Wilt says, Barb from Michigan, Upper Peninsula. Barbara is from Upper Peninsula. I heard there's a whole lot of nature up there. I had not been to the Upper Peninsula in Michigan, but we have another Michigander. Eric Hayes says, kind of like Bud Light doing things to companies for BS political parties. Okay. Bridge MCP has a long one for me to read, and it says, the Trump Organization Demographic Summary. Zipia estimates demographics and statistics for the Trump Organization by using a database of 30 million profiles. Our estimates are verified against BLS census and current job openings data for accuracy. After extensive research and analysis, Zipia's data science team found that the Trump Organization has 22,450 employees. 47% of the Trump Organization employees are women, while 53% are men. The most common ethnicity at the Trump Organization is white, 58%. 21% of the Trump Organization employees are Hispanic or Latino. 12% of the Trump Organization are Black or African American. The average employee at the Trump Organization makes $38,500 a year. The Trump Organization employees are most likely to be members of the Republican Party. Employees at the Trump Organization stay with the company for 4.3 years on average. Mar-a-Lago relies on foreign nationals who work as servers, cooks, and housekeepers. In 2016, the club sought 65 foreign workers. The figure has increased every year since, with the exception of 2020 when the club shut down in the early days of the pandemic and furloughed about 150 employees. Last winter, Mar-a-Lago sought out 91 foreign workers, according to the records. Actually, if you look at his organization, that split in people doesn't look bad at all. I mean, when you look at 58% white, 21% is Latino, 12% Black, I mean, it kind of mimics the demographics of the country to some extent. People staying there 4.3 years tells me that they're not superbly unhappy, especially in these times of great flux. And likewise, I tell you what, I look at those numbers, Bridge MCP, and he looks like the operation of those, that right there doesn't look bad. Now that most of them are Republicans, well, I don't know how that happened to be, but still, that doesn't look bad at all. I think that looks pretty good, and I would commend his managers for a number like that, especially given who he is, right, and what he says. All right. Egberto has low standards to rate peeps as good people. Let me tell you what I do. I try to find a good thing in somebody, and then I try to highlight that. And then they live up to the expectation. It was like the cop who stopped me for being Black. I wrote it in this book as well. Tribulations of an Afro-Latino Caribbean Man. The cop stopped me for being Black. Okay. I mean, he wouldn't admit it, but he was very nice. In as much as he did that, he was very nice. And I spoke about him at KPFT. And I also wrote a blog about it. The guy got a commendation after it went viral. But progressives at KPFT wanted my head on a platter because I was kind to the police officer who treated me like a human being, in as much as he stopped me for driving while black. My goal, folks, is the following, right? I think you can get people to live up beyond who they are, but who many people hope that they would be. I don't want to say hope. People will them to be. Maybe I'm stupid. I don't think so because I've seen it work, Anyway, Bridge MCP says, after yesterday, we established how misinformation he has and that he is full on MAGA. We doing this again? No, Bridge, I get you. I read you. I get you. Let him put these things out here. You know why? Because again, it is good for every brother CSEC out there. There are tons of them. And when we address that, one of the big things right now you'll see in the people, some parts of this country, is they said they are ignored. We simply say, guys, you're stupid. You don't know what you're talking about. And then you ignore them. And then you leave that cancer festering. If you keep engaging it, that's what I think. Okay. All right, Egberto, if you see this while on the phone, please read it out for Mike. What are we talking about? If I see what Michael Rudnin, okay, here we go. Michael Rudnin, light therapy is useful for other conditions, but not for COVID. And using disinfectants internally, that's just a good way to get someone killed. Mike C., what you have to understand is that Trump's actions during the pandemic, downplaying the pandemic, caused an excess of 400,000 American deaths. That is a fact, and there's nothing Mike CSEC can do to change that. There's nothing Mike CSEC can do to pretty much make Donald Trump an intelligent person. The man is just a dumb buffoon. All right. Bruce says, sorry, Mike, I heard him live say there might be a way we could inject bleach. I thought it was a joke in the wrong moment. Electronic ultraviolet light merely paralyzes the virus, but the virus reanimates in time when the light is taken away. But not only that, you can't get the light inside of the liver. You can't get the light. I mean, it is just stupid. There could be light therapies for a whole lot of things that necessarily don't live deep inside of your organs, etc. Just not this. It's ridiculous. You can say, okay, well, we'll pass blood and the blood will constantly get through the ultraviolet. The ultraviolet will kill and eventually you'll kill them all because it's in the blood supply. But what happens to the viruses that are not in the blood supply? The viruses that are embedded in the tissues? Again, it makes no sense. So anyway, I hate that smart people try to make dummies look good, right? All right. Let's see what else we say. Let's see what else. Trump video injecting bleach, A45. There you go. Thank you for putting that out, Bridge. I'll play it or play it sometime after. I need to start back playing my videos from the thing itself, but I can't. All right, I got the first video, which is Ali Velshi and us becoming a theocracy. Let's go ahead and play that, and then we'll take it on the other side. If there's any doubt that what we have with the MAGA Republicans in their relationship with evangelical Christians, what we should really now call Christian nationalists, is that they intend not only to control women's bodies by the IVF, what we had with IVF and control, abortion control, etc., but much deeper than that. Ali Velshi exposes that when he points out the writings from this particular judge from Alabama, what he had to say and where he actually speaks. Listen to this and then we'll take it on.
Now, as confusing and radical as the original ruling was, the concurring opinion from the Alabama Chief Justice, Tom Parker, stands out as particularly notable. Chief Justice Parker wrote in his concurrence that Alabama had a, quote, theologically based view of the sanctity of life adopted by the people of Alabama encompasses the following. God made every person in his image. 2, each person therefore has a value that far exceeds the ability of human beings to calculate. And 3, human life cannot be wrongfully destroyed without incurring the wrath of a holy God. Now, if you're surprised to see this kind of language in a legal opinion, perhaps you shouldn't be. The very same day that the IVF ruling came down, Chief Justice Parker appeared on a video podcast hosted by a conservative, QAnon-believing, self-proclaimed prophet.
God created government. And the fact that we have let it go into the possession of others is heartbreaking for those of us who understand, and we know it is for him. And that's why he is calling and equipping people to step back into these mountains right now.
Step back into these mountains right now. That's Alabama Chief Justice Parker. And if you look closely, you'd see what it says behind him. Restore the 7. That's a reference to the 7 Mountains Mandate, or the 7 Mountains Dominion, which is a Christian evangelical and Pentecostal belief that urges its followers to establish God's kingdom on earth by controlling the 7 mountains of society: family, religion, education, arts and entertainment, commerce, media, and governments. And as Parker said, he believes that God created government and that God is calling and equipping people to step back into those mountains of society. Now, this might sound fringe, but the beliefs behind the 7 Mountains ideology, and specifically the ideologically driven effort to get believers into powerful positions in our government, is not fringe at all. U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson recently said that he believes the separation of church and state is, quote, a misnomer. In an interview on CNBC, Johnson said that he believes the founders did not want the government to encroach upon the church, not that they didn't want principles of faith to have influence on our public life. It's exactly the opposite, end quote. Shortly after he became speaker, Johnson was apparently not aware that there was media in the room when he compared himself to Moses while speaking about his ascension to the speakership in a speech to conservative lawmakers. This week, a state senator in Oklahoma made a statement about the death of a non-binary teenager named Nex Benedict, who was beaten in a school bathroom the day before they died. The senator said, quote, "We're going to fight to keep that filth out of the state of Oklahoma because we are a Christian state," end quote. Another political action group that follows similar beliefs, called My God Votes, aims to rally believers to get involved in government and to vote for their endorsed candidates. The pastor who ran its inaugural event last month in Houston started off by listing the many people who will be on the ballot during this primary who were in attendance, including a candidate for Congress, state senators, state representatives, school board officials, and sheriffs. And then he said this.
I want to start off by saying this is not a political event. And I say that with all sincerity because what we're doing here tonight is kingdom business. This is God's business. Those who serve in office are called God's ministers for good. And it says that he is not a minister. He is a minister to execute wrath on those who practice evil. And so we have a line of defense that we elect and put in office to execute wrath. They call him God's avenger. All you who are elected people, I want you to know you are God's avenger to execute wrath against evil. So thank you for serving in God's kingdom tonight.
You are God's avenger to execute wrath against evil. There have been rulings and bills in Oklahoma, Texas, Utah, and Idaho that allow those states to bring religious practices into public schools or to use public funds for religious schools. I could go on. There are seemingly endless examples of recent blurring of the line or overt tearing down of the line between church and state. But our founders, the very first thing they decided to fix with the role of religion in this country, the First Amendment, written in 1791, reads, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech, which is the one we normally associate with this amendment, or of the press or of the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. The very First Amendment. What the founders meant by establishment has been debated intermittently since this was written, but despite many challenges to the so-called Establishment Clause, the Supreme Court affirmed the separation of church and state repeatedly over decades. However, in the last 2 years, this very conservative U.S. Supreme Court has delivered a series of blows to the Establishment Clause, allowing prayer in school, allowing businesses to deny service to LGBTQ plus individuals, allowing public funds to go toward religious schools. Meanwhile, Trump is capitalizing on the momentum of the religious right, promising to fight for the Christian right, all the while his team organizes a plan of action that is steeped in Christian nationalism.
Now, if that is not simple enough to understand, if you take a look at the trajectory of not only the judge in Alabama, but the new Speaker of the House and Johnson, and if we go ahead and listen to their words, again, this is that completely evil alliance between MAGA and Christian nationalists to control not just women, to control not just bodies of others, but to simply pervert what is the United States of America, something that we simply cannot allow to occur.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news track.
Now, what is so interesting, first of all, you guys get that what is so interesting is our, I just want to show you one thing here. Mike, and it shows you how people look at something and try to make it what it isn't. If your time is short, and let me put it on the screen. I just want people to see this. If your time is short, what Michael Cisak want us to use to somehow rehabilitate dummy Trump is the following. If your time is short, in context, what Donald Trump said about disinfectant sun and coronavirus. It said, during a coronavirus press briefing, President Trump floated the idea, let me put that on the screen. President Trump floated the idea of using disinfectants and sunlight to treat COVID-19 patients. The next paragraph says, Trump has since walked back those remarks, and several websites and social media posts have taken them out of context. If they were taken out of context, they would not have had to be walked back. I mean, and then you can read the rest, but it is, you know what you heard, and you know the level of this guy's intellect. Don't let anything, to the listeners, whether you're MAGA or otherwise, don't let anything change your opinion of who we know this guy is based on his entire life. What he has done, what he has said, doesn't have a lot of stairs. And he killed 400,000, an excess of 400,000 Americans. It's important that we allow that. All right, let's continue with the program. Let me get to some of your readings. British MCP, Egberto Willies. So let me get this right. The woman's egg cannot be wasted, but sperm have at it. One cannot exist without the other. So, hey, guys, they pass a law on your handling it will make you really upset. Yay? I find it ironic, but actually the embryo is a combination of the sperm and, or rather, in vitro, it's a combination, right? So they're saying once a sperm, and I don't know if I'm coming in the wrong part of the discussion. When the sperm hits the egg and they fertilize, it becomes an embryo, and that's what they're calling a person. You know, it makes no sense, of course. Yeah. And which God, you're correct, Bridge MCP, which God are they talking about? Doesn't matter because, again, it's unconstitutional. Michael Rene says, Twitch having an argument over whether viruses are alive. Good luck with that. Even scientists argue that point. Well, put it this way. The way I determine if a virus is alive or not is if I put it into a body and it replicates itself, however the replication occurs. If I didn't put it into that body, it would not have replicated. If I put it into that body and it replicates, well, it's doing something. So I would call that life. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Deb Denny to breach, good one. Outlaw spilling the seed, make little blue pills illegal. Seriously, if they have a limp banana, God made them that way. I love that. I love that, Deb Denny. I love that to death. I love that. My Cisa says, Egberto, go down and read what the quote is. I read the entire thing while I was playing the video, sir. Nothing changed. Let's see. Para ver. Bo Portman, welcome to Politics and Rights. Stupid, scared Democrats. The sky is falling. I know. I'm a stupid Democrat. No, I'm a progressive. But it's okay, my dear Mo. All right. What else have we got? Okay, I got another video to show you. Kyrsten Sinema quit the race. To which I say, good riddance. Don't let the door... how does it, that thing? Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Check this out. Breaking news. Kyrsten Sinema is not running for the Senate, the senator of Arizona. Good riddance. This woman was one of the people that prevented a lot of our progressive values or progressive policies to be passed during the pandemic that would have made a whole lot of difference. That would have made the Green New Deal much better. That would have made a lot of good social programs that kept kids out of poverty. It would have done a great job. She once, when she was young, campaigned as a progressive. She was a strong progressive. And then she got into the Senate and allowed herself to be bought. And that is what a bought politician gives you. Holds back progress. Yes, she compromised supposedly to get bills passed. But after all, she's a Democrat. She was supposed to get all these bills passed. But she also was a turncoat by not supporting breaking the filibuster, which would have allowed program after program that helped real people as opposed to transferring our wealth to the top, which is what was done. Anyway, check out this little commentary by Katie Tur and reporter, can't remember his name right now. Check this out. We'll take it on the other side.
Big breaking news from a state that is not voting today, Arizona, where former Democratic Senator turned independent Kyrsten Sinema has just announced she is not running for re-election this year.
Compromise is a dirty word. We've arrived at that crossroad, and we chose anger and division. I believe in my approach, but it's not what America wants right now. I love Arizona, and I am so proud of what we've delivered. Because I choose civility, understanding, listening, working together to get stuff done, I will leave the Senate at the end of this year.
How much does this change the dynamics of the Senate going forward?
Drastically. Well, number one, Katie, there's a lot to unpack here. Number one, Sinema says she chooses compromise. She was part of a lot of compromises in the last 3 or 4 years, a variety of compromises, including the gun legislation. She worked on border stuff. I mean, she was part of every major compromise on Capitol Hill. So her tenure has proven actually that there is some, at least, appetite for compromise. That's number one. Number two, this becomes a two-way race between Kari Lake and Ruben Gallego, a much different dynamic, a head-to-head race between a Republican and a Democrat, where no independent's going to be siphoning off votes. That's number two. Number three, a real pickup opportunity for either party, I guess. And Sinema was an independent, but Republicans feel as though Kari Lake now has a real chance. Democrats feel like Ruben Gallego has it in the bag. So choose your adventure. And to be honest with you, Sinema, over the last couple of years, sided, along with Joe Manchin, with Republicans to save the filibuster. That's a simple fact. The filibuster, if there was another Democrat in that seat and in West Virginia, perhaps, or another couple Democrats in the Senate, the filibuster might or might not be gone, might or might not be drastically changed. So the governing dynamics, the campaign and political dynamics have changed drastically.
Can we just talk about the filibuster for another moment?
Sure.
If Sinema's not in the Senate and say it's a Republican-led Senate and Kari Lake is a senator, how good are the chances that the Republicans overturn the filibuster? Now that Mitch McConnell is gone, he had some fealty to it. And then if it's a Democrat-run Senate, I know that's a hard hill to climb right now because of the way the elections look across the state, the electoral map. if it's a Democrat and Ruben Gallego wins, does it also stand to reason that Democrats are going to overturn it?
Yeah, Katie, I think the basic fact is that almost no matter what, there's a decent chance that the legislative filibuster will no longer be in place. If Democrats win a couple of seats, have more than a 51 seat majority, have a couple of seats cushion, they could easily overturn the filibuster. I think that's a fair thing to surmise after the last couple of years in which we saw big roadblocks put up over pieces of legislation. And quite frankly, there's a strain of thought in the Senate Republican conference that the first thing Senate Republicans will do in the post-Mitch McConnell era is get rid of the filibuster, change the filibuster drastically so they can pass their agenda. And I just want to make this clear, Katie, this cuts both ways. This will be extraordinarily difficult for Democrats to watch Republicans get rid of the filibuster and pass drastic limits on abortion, things like that, with a 51 seat majority. I mean, that's going to be the other side of the coin to the Democratic push to get rid of the filibuster.
And just to be clear, the filibuster is a 60 vote majority to pass legislation. This would knock it down to a simple majority, 51 votes, 50 plus the vice president if you also have the presidency. What sort of senator would Kari Lake be if she won Arizona?
I think she'd align herself with the hard line of the Senate Republican Conference, a coalition that's growing. And Katie, we've been thinking and reporting a lot in the last couple of days since Mitch McConnell announced that he would no longer be the leader come November about the different pockets in the Senate Republican Conference, been thinking and reporting a lot about those and what the makeup is. And still, I would say that the majority of Senate Republicans are still allies of Mitch McConnell and kind of old, to the extent they still exist, old school Republicans, traditional Republicans. But that caucus, that little pocket of hardline Senate Republicans is absolutely growing. And to be honest with you, it makes sense and it's smart that Kari Lake is trying to play for these Sinema voters who are, in her mind, independents and would not vote for a progressive like Ruben Gallego, although he's not as progressive as some people might make him out to be. But the real question here, and I was just having a conversation with somebody about this the other day, is the old school McCain Republicans in Arizona, to the extent they still exist, do they vote for Kari Lake? They're probably not voting for Gallego. Do they stay home? And I think that's the ultimate question in Arizona in 2024.
Well, Democrats ought to be happy. I think Ruben Gallegos has a great chance of winning that seat. And while many are fearing that somehow we are going to lose the Senate, we're going to lose the Senate, maybe North Dakota and a couple others, I say, hold your horses. I think there's a lot that's going to happen between now and November that keeps the Senate in play, but not only in play, but that we hold on to the Senate, win the House, win the presidency, and win state houses throughout this country. Get ready, guys. You remember Donald Trump used to say you're going to get tired of winning? Well, the reality is Democrats and progressives have been winning all of these off-session elections. Now, only Democrats can screw themselves up. Brother Biden better get his act together on Netanyahu and Israel if he intends to not destroy what is bound to happen, which all the policies are laid out for us to have a landslide throughout the country.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.
Absolutely. Join us, folks. Join us. Anyway, I agree with you, Mr. Rudden. That is what she proved who she was when she did that. You remember she was carousing. She was in a group with a group of Republicans, just tying it up and having fun, etc. Not that that's bad, but she was screwing us at the same time. So it's good for her. She couldn't beat Gallegos. And of course, she's not going to share. What's her name? Lake? I don't remember Lake's first name. It's not going to happen. Okay, I got one last video that we got to get. We don't have a lot of time left. it's probably, let's go ahead and get that in right this minute. Recently, Nikki Haley appeared on Meet the Press with Christian Werkler. And I tell you, first of all, we know Nikki Haley is super conservative, bordering on MAGA, but not as MAGA as many MAGAs. But the one thing she has is discipline, and she is pretty good. And she sounds pretty good as well. So, I mean, I think it's something that people always have said, be careful what you wish for. You know, I mean, she's staying in the race. Anything could happen to Donald Trump. Donald Trump is erratic. Donald Trump could have a heart attack. Donald Trump there are a lot of things that could happen, right? And she's waiting in the wings. And I think when you listen to her, in as much as she's super conservative, she sounds fairly pragmatic and stable. I want you to listen to this, because here's what she's offering, first of all, to the Republican side. Normalcy versus chaos on the Republican side. And on the Democratic side, for those people who are moderates and who can be fooled into believing she is a moderate, she could make a race that is closer than one would expect. And given the narrative that she's doing on old men right now, I think, and given Biden's problems that he's currently having with Israel, in other words, supporting the massacre, the genocide of a whole lot of people, I mean, who knows? I want you to listen to this, because she's already gone back on something she promised. Check this out.
This primary isn't between Donald Trump and Nikki Haley. Yes, on the ballot, that's what you see. This primary is, what is the direction of the Republican Party? Are we going to go where you had Donald Trump? He grew government. He didn't reduce the size of government. He put us $8 trillion in debt in just 4 years, more than any other president. And you're seeing a Republican Party follow him into that wasteful spending, not talking about fiscal discipline. This is about Donald Trump, who believes that you should be more of an isolationist, that America doesn't need friends. That's his focus. My focus is we need to start respecting taxpayer dollars. We need to reduce the size of government. We need to put those resources more in the hands of the people. We need to start focusing on getting our kids reading again. We need to secure our borders and be a country of law and order. And we believe in peace through strength, which means our focus is to prevent war. That's two very different Republican parties.
You're laying this out in very stark terms. It sounds like, from your perspective, this is a battle for the Republican Party. You've been sharpening your attacks against former President Trump. Everyone has noticed in recent days, in recent weeks. Have you taken the prospect, the possibility of endorsing him off the table at this point?
It's not anything I think about. What I have said
is it off the table, Ambassador? It sounds like you are in a different place. Are people misinterpreting what you're saying? Have you moved to a place where you're no longer planning to endorse him?
Well, I think, first of all, if you talk about an endorsement, you're talking about a loss. I don't think like that. When you're in a race, you don't think about losing. You think about continuing to go forward. What I can tell you is, I don't think Donald Trump or Joe Biden should be president. I don't think that we need two candidates in their 80s. I don't think we want a Joe Biden who calls his opponents fascists or a Donald Trump who calls his opponents vermin. No one wants that. I think people want a new generational leader that is going to go back to what the American dream is, what we want for our kids, in a place that's something that we can be proud of again.
Let me try it this way. You did sign a pledge, an RNC pledge, to support the eventual nominee. Do you still feel bound by that pledge?
I have always said that I have serious concerns about Donald Trump. I have even more concerns about Joe Biden.
So is that a no? Are you bound by the RNC pledge?
The RNC pledge, I mean, at the time of the debate, we had to take it to where, would you support the nominee? And you had to, in order to get on that debate stage, you said yes. The RNC is now not the same RNC. Now it's
so you're no
Trump's
longer bound by that pledge.
No, I think I'll make what decision I want to make, but that's not something I'm thinking about. And I think that while y'all think about that, I'm looking at the fact that we had thousands of people in Virginia. We're headed to North Carolina. We're going to continue to go to Vermont and Maine and all these states to go and show people that there is a path forward. And so I don't look at what ifs. I look at how do we continue the conversation.
So as you can see, She's no longer committed to say if she loses, she'll go against Donald Trump. But also, she's no longer committed to just staying out if it's all over. So I think we should really be cognizant. I mean, not necessarily a super word, but be cognizant that she could be a horse that's not yet out of the game, and a horse that even if she kind of just hangs in there, maybe waiting for something to happen. And with two old men running, something can happen on either side. Something we better think about.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing.
Absolutely so, folks. Anyway, folks, please support the program. You can do that by going to politicsdoneright.com/support, which I just put into the feed. Likewise, you can subscribe to our newsletter, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Paid subscribers of our newsletter can read all of our books free of charge online at our Substack newsletter. Please consider getting my new book. My new book is out. Go to politicsdoneright.com/books, politicsdoneright.com/books, and guess what it's called? Tribulations of an Afro-Latino Caribbean Man. I think you're going to love it. The stories that I tell in there, quite a few. You can see the table of contents, quite a few stories in there you're going to find intriguing. And subtitle is Racism Didn't Stop My Smile, Hope, or Journey Forward. Again, Tribulations of an Afro-Latino Caribbean Man. Please consider getting this book today. Go to politicsdoneright.com/books and putting it on the screen. And by the way, folks, when you purchase books from us, when you contribute to us, you make sure that I can continue doing all of this. This is a 16-hour a day job. We're cutting videos, putting things out there, writing stories, writing articles, writing books. All these things are done because we have to put our message out there as well. And while the other side has a lot of investors, rich investors that put it in there, the progressives don't get that. People talk about Soros. I've never seen a penny from George Soros. All the things that support me doing what we do here is either from the minor sales in books and what the people who become subscribers to our YouTube channel, subscribers to our Patreon. And by the way, let me put a link to our Patreon today. I haven't put that out in a while. Go to Politics. If you want to become a patron, we have all kinds of programs here too. politicsdoneright.com/Patreon, politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. A lot of ways to support what we're doing, but, consider the book as well. Anyway, my name is Egberto. Willies, this is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.
Populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.